For those that don't know me, my name is James. I moved to Central Florida about 4 years ago with my wife Rose, and here's a big pro: no state income tax, which that's great. Also, if you're opening a business here, there's no state income tax, which is a big plus. Look at all the companies that are moving here. We have Amazon. I believe just recently the CEO of Starbucks is moving here from Washington State because they imposed a big millionaires tax out there. Mark Zuckerberg recently moved here to Florida. We have a lot of people that own a lot of big companies and corporations that are moving here because they know it's in their best interest financially. This could be I guess you could view this as a pro or a con when it comes to the prices of housing here in Florida. The median house price is between $310,000 to $450,000. Another big pro to moving to Florida is going to be all the entertainment that's supplied by Florida, which includes a lot of good beaches. I think they have several beaches in the top 10 out of like the world. Also, they have a lot of amusement parks. You have things like Gatorland Zoo, you have Busch Gardens in Tampa Bay, you have Legoland, Universal Studios, and they just opened up an Epic at Universal Studios, which is an expansion to the regular Universal Studios. Also, Disney World. Another pro would be they have a lot of farmers markets and different flea markets and things like that, and they're usually really good, and they're full of vendors. Like there's usually a ton. They have like Webster Market. It's like a flea and farmers market, and it's really big. And then you have other places like Winter Garden in Central Florida has a pretty good farmers market too. It's pretty vast. And you have a bunch of small ones like Mount Dora, the Villages, Claremont, downtown Claremont has a farmers market. They're all pretty good, and it's a good way to support the local businesses. Another pro to living in Florida is if you like sports, there's a ton of sports teams here. You have everything from Major League Soccer, Major League Baseball, National Hockey Leagues here. You have National Football League, you have NBA, you have everyone covered here. Another pro to living in Florida is going to be the growing job market. There's a lot of, the economy is pretty strong here in Florida. We have a lot of course, tourism because of all the things I've recently listed here. But we also have like a big growing tech sector that's popping up down towards like the Miami area, which is really growing. Also, another pro is, believe it or not, the education system. We have low tuition and high graduation rates among the public school system. You also have some of the highest ranked universities that you can find in the country. Also, another pro when it comes to living in Florida is going to be, since the weather is so good here and you have like tropical weather, you can grow a lot of tropical fruits and vegetables, and you can pretty much grow year round when it comes to gardening. So if you have a green thumb and you like to garden, then Florida is going to be a good place for you. This next one I know is going to touch a lot of people in the wrong place, but it could be a plus or a negative depending on how you look at it, and that's going to be the HOAs. Florida is among one of the top states for having HOAs, and I personally, I guess it depends where you live to whether it's going to be good or bad for you. Some HOAs include a lot of different things. If you have like pools and amenities and clubhouses and golf courses and tennis courts and different things like that, then it could be a plus. But if you have an HOA that kind of sits on their butt and doesn't do anything, then you're going to have a problem because you're just paying into it and you're not getting back what you paid into it. But some of the pros to having an HOA is going to be property value protection, the upkeep and landscape and maintenance to all the properties and surrounding common areas are going to keep your value of your house steady and at a good price for the future. Like I've touched on, the pools, the clubhouses, tennis, then you have swimming pools. Some of them have swimming pools. Also, some of them have like security guards, like a guard booth, so there's like gated security. So some of the places here you use like a code or scan a card to get in, or some of them you actually have to stop at the guard booth. But that's an added protection for your safety and your property's protection. Also, some have garbage pickup, and some also include internet, if you can believe it or not. Now, some of the cons when it comes to HOAs. You got a monthly and annual dues, so they can range anywhere between like $100 to $1,000. I mean, I've even seen them over $1,000 for certain things, certain properties, like condos and things. I've seen them below $100 also. Ours is actually, I want to say it's right around $70 semi-annually, so every 3 months, which is very cheap. But you get what you pay for, so just keep that in mind. Because in my particular neighborhood, they don't really enforce the upkeep, and they're spotty on their who they go after as far as upkeep. Like they might send me a notice but not send my neighbor a notice for the same exact thing. They actually fine people if you don't fulfill that notice within like a 30-day period. They can write you a fine, and the fine can continue to climb if you continue not to go ahead and take care of the issue. Another con I would say with HOAs is going to be, when it comes to the rules of the neighborhood, every neighborhood's going to be different and vary. You got, some have painting codes. You can only paint certain colors. My wife has a friend, his HOA, I think it's like $600 a month, and they make him repaint his house like every 2 or 3 years. Like he has to pay for it and it has to come out of his budget. And they make him do it no matter what, whether it needs it or not. And you're standardized to what paint colors you can pick. Usually neighborhoods have a set list of paint colors, 2 or 3, 4 colors per house that you can use. Also, a lot of HOAs, they have covenants when it comes to like fencing, like what type of fence you can use. They have wood, vinyl, etc., metal. Like what type, what color variants when it comes to fences. Like you can't use tan, you got to use white, stuff like that. Also, what type of mailbox you have. A lot of HOAs or communities, they have the same exact mailbox per resident. Some of them have pet regulations and restrictions. Some don't allow any pets. Some allow up to 2 pets. Some only allow 1 pet. Some you can't have a dog over like 50, 70 pounds. It just, everyone's different. Some HOAs, probably a lot of them, they don't want you to have like trailers and RVs and campers because people park them right in their yard, in their front yard, and it just kind of downgrades the look of the neighborhood. Like our particular neighborhood, they let us have them, but they say you got to keep them in the backyard in a fenced area, and you shouldn't be able to see it from over the fence. So Also, that applies to boats. I forgot to mention that. So that's another thing you got to think of if you're planning on having one of those things, like a camper, trailer, or boat. You know, are you going to be allowed to keep it there? Just because you see one person has that, don't mean you can have that. They might have had theirs grandfathered in or something of that nature. Just for an example, our neighborhood also, I think we have probably like 500 houses in this development, and there's 2 houses. For some reason, when they were built, they did not have an HOA. So I don't know like how that happened, but they asked them if they wanted to join the HOA, and of course they both said no. Some HOAs can actually place a lien on your home and or foreclose on your home if you, for say, fall behind on like paying for your upkeep and your HOA fees and stuff like that. So just think of maybe somebody like an elderly person's here, and or someone loses their job and their income gets cut off some kind of way. The HOA can step in and put a lien on your house and take your house for maybe a couple $100 that you might owe. You know, it's awful. I haven't seen that per se, but I've heard about it, you know, through media, news sources, you know, in other states and areas. So now we're going to focus mainly on the cons. I say one of the cons is you have 250 days a year that's sunny and nice out, but you do have bad weather here too. There's a rainy season, and the rainy season lasts between June and October for the most part. It can last up to 5 months. And what that means, if for anyone that doesn't experience a rainy season where they live, is you're basically going to have rain probably every day or every other day. It doesn't mean it's going to rain for hours and hours. A lot of times you can set your watch to it. I mean, it might rain at like 4 o'clock every evening for like 15-20 minutes and stop. Or it might rain for an hour and stop. But you're just going to be experiencing rain like pretty much every day or every other day during the rainy season. And then after it stops, since it's so tropical and hot here, it pretty much evaporates the rain. I mean, you probably won't even see traces that it even rained in some places. Another issue with the weather would be the summers. You know, sometimes the summers can get brutally hot, like really hot. I mean, I'm used to having hot summers when I lived up north, but it would just be like a week or two or something of that nature. But sometimes here you could go like a month or two and it would just, you'll see no one outside because it's just too hot. Another issue with the weather is going to be the winter. Most winters are actually nice and hang right around 70 to 75 degrees during the winter time, when everyone else is experiencing freezes and snows and things like that. We're usually in warm, nice weather. But there are some winters where we do experience some freezes. And some parts of Florida actually do get snow, like up in the Panhandle, like near like Panama City and stuff like that. You'll actually see where they get some snow on the ground, up to like an inch or so, or a dusting most of the time. But I live in Central Florida, and right in Central Florida, we've probably had, I think, 3 freezes this winter. It's been the coldest winter that I've experienced yet in 2025. It carried over into 2026. And we've had to try to protect and cover our plants and trees and everything else, trying to save them. And we've lost some of them, and some of them lived through it. But you're just gonna have to like go above and beyond and like try to save them, and it's really hard. Maybe 1 freeze is okay, but when you have 2 or 3, it's just kind of too much for your plants and trees. And the worst thing when it comes to weather, of course, is going to be the hurricanes. And I'm not talking about the football team in Miami. When I lived up north, I always heard about hurricanes. And the hurricanes are just on another level. I live right smack in the middle of Central Florida, and The winds we had just devastated our neighborhood. Every other neighbor lost their fence, trees were uprooted, flooding, shingles off the roofs. I mean, everything was just wiped. This neighborhood looked like a bomb went off. And the surrounding area too, like our whole county. We had like big giant trees that had been here for hundreds of years, fell over, and you name it, flooding like crazy. Because most of Florida is flat, and there's a lot of swampy areas, and so you're going to experience a lot more flooding and issues with that. Another con would be the sinkholes. We have sinkholes in Florida. There's some counties that experience higher levels of sinkholes than others. It doesn't seem to be everywhere, but if you look above Tampa area, like around, I want to say Spring Hill area up in there. I'm not sure what county that is. They have a high tendency to get sinkholes, and you'll see just big holes open up in the ground, and the roads cave in, and people's yards and businesses and houses fall in, and that's a thing here. So just note that you might want to look for, anytime you buy a house, I recommend anytime you buy a house, even if it's in another state other than Florida, you should always check the flood chart areas and check for like sinkholes and different things like that, and even look up a crime report. Speaking of crime, that's actually a pro, so I'm bringing that up now, but one of the pros of living in Florida is they actually have a very, very low violent crime rate here, and they're one of the lowest in the country. So that's a plus when it comes to living in Florida, is crime. Most of the crimes you're going to see are going to just be little spats here and there where people, get drunk and act stupid, or you're going to have like someone cut someone off, or most of them, from my experience since I've been here, is going to be like theft and things like that. So another con is going to be utilities and groceries. That includes like electric bills, water bills. They're slightly higher than the national average, so just look into that and look up that when you're moving to Florida, because every county is different. There's a county right next to mine. They've been complaining that they've had brown water, and they've been complaining that they have anywhere from like $300 to $600 water bills. I mean, just craziness. So you have to be very careful and mindful where you live and do your research. Another con is going to be the sales tax. Sales taxes are 18% higher than the national average. Another con is going to be the homeowners insurance. It's when I first got here, it was like $2,400. Now we're up to like, I think it's $4,600. So it's like almost doubled from the time I've been here, and I've been here 4 years. So that's a big one. You have to look at that. That was one of the reasons we moved to Florida, because the homeowners insurance and for that was kind of low compared to some of the other states we were looking at. And the reason why, they say, is because of hurricanes like we brought up. A lot of litigation with frauds. They have high volume roof repairs, I guess, due to the storms and hurricanes. So all that stuff's kind of combined has driven up the price. Also, another con is going to be the rentals, like rental properties. If you want to rent a home, it's always good if you want to rent a home and check out the area and try it out first. But in Florida, just note that it's the fourth highest rental market in the country, and it says it's the top 5 most expensive. More than 42% of your earnings are going to go towards rental properties. Here's another con. This one's kind of big too. When we first got here, I was paying For a 2020 Chevy Trail Boss pickup 4x4 V8 engine, I was paying like, I think it was 129, 139. And within the last 2 or 3 years, I got rid of that truck, but we have a small 2018 4-cylinder Jeep Cherokee, and we're paying like $170 something a month compared to the 140 I was paying for the big V8 truck. So that's actually doubled since we've been here too. All these things have like doubled on us just being here for like 4 years, probably within the last 2 years. But anyway, the car insurance, it's 44 to 58% higher than the national average. So that's a thing. And it just, basically the drivers here are on a whole nother level. I mean, it's some of the worst drivers I've ever seen in my life when it comes to Florida. I've been a lot of states, I've lived in a few different states, and I've never encountered the type of driving I've seen here. And I don't want to go too much into the driving aspect of Florida, but just note that it's pretty bad. And this is just an added bonus for pros. This hasn't happened yet, but if it does, it's going to be a big pro for people moving here. And that is, Florida's already voted to put on the ballot in, I believe it's November of 2026. They're going to have the people vote. Every resident in Florida is going to have a chance to vote for no property taxes for Florida. That doesn't include, like, you still might have to pay, like, depending on where you live, some taxes for your school district, things like that. They're kind of included in your property taxes. But some areas don't have that, and some are very cheap, and you're going to see a big difference when it comes to saving money in Florida. So that's going to be a big added bonus if that passes in November. And that pretty much, in a nutshell, is my breakdown of the pros and cons of Florida. If you guys have any suggestions or any comments or any questions when it comes to the pros and cons of Florida, or anything that you might want to know about the area, you can reach out to me in the comments. I'll do my best to get back to you. Like I said, I don't know everything when it comes to Florida, but I'm just giving you my experience and my viewpoint from living here for 4 years and what I've experienced along the way. When it comes to you, everyone's situation is different. So everybody's money's different. Everybody's experiences are different. Everybody's time frame is different. Everybody's age is different. So some people are looking for different things than others. So my suggestion would be just to sit down with your loved ones or whoever you're moving with and just make a pros and cons list of your own and seek out what's important to you when it comes to moving here.